Does Operation Mahadev really reek of religious fundamentalism? Who is it exactly who is trying to mix religion and military operation? To answer some of those questions, we are now joined by the man who is in the best position to do so, Lieutenant General Syed Ata Hasnain. He is former GOC of the Chinar Corps. Remember, these are the forces that have been putting out all the information officially about Operation Mahadev. Sir, thank you for speaking to us. First of all, what do you make of the Congress and the issues that the party is raising? They say that there is a problem with the nomenclature of Operation Mahadev. Can you please help them with the genesis of the name?
Thank you, first of all, for inviting me for your program. I think ground knowledge in these things is very important. What I carry with me is a tremendous amount of ground knowledge from Jammu and Kashmir, the operational environment there. Where this operation has happened is the Dachigam forest, which is about 20 kilometers from Srinagar towards the north and northwest, or rather north and northeast. If you go beyond Dachigam forest and you come into those absolutely uninhabited areas, is a place called the Mahadev Ridge. It is a very famous landmark for the armed forces, for the army, because this is the area which we always patrol, occupy during the Amarnath Yatra. You know, it's on the flanks of the Amarnath Yatra, and it's an area which is very difficult terrain, high altitude, forested. So this operation has taken place in the shadow of the Mahadev Ridge. It's the area of Dachigam to the Mahadev Ridge, which is an area generally devoid of water. And that's an area where possibly the army had, or the forces had managed to squeeze these terrorists into, and the hideouts were probably somewhere there. So the army is very usually the army gives names related to landmarks of the area in which they are conducting an operation. So when they name Operation Mahadev and I heard it, I didn't bat an eyelid because I am so used to it. I know that it's a landmark there, right? Why do we call the whole exercise for the security of the Amarnath Yatra, we call it Op Shiva? Why? Because it's related to the Amarnath shrine. That's why. So I don't think so you should ascribe this to the Indian Army in particular, because that's an institution which no one should cast these kind of aspersions on us, on the people in uniform, because the army is generally above everything like this.
So you insist army is above everything else. The citizens of this country would believe that, but the opposition clearly is not on the same page, because it's not only Operation Mahadev. Even when Operation Sindoor was launched and the name gained a lot of currency and a lot of adulation as well, it was admirable how the government had and the forces have chosen that name to avenge the Sindoor that had been wiped off by the terrorists, because it also had a Hindu link. Tell us how army thinks, is it what the opposition thinks it thinks like, or is it something different?
You see, army events are always given some title, a degree of symbolism. It's easy to relate to them. All our reports and returns on paper are preceded by that terminology: Operation Sindoor, Operation Mahadev, and then it carries on situation report, so and so, right? It brings attention to it immediately. You can immediately relate to what is being spoken about. That's the prime purpose of using a symbolism. Now, why these particular symbols? Something related to terrain, something related to an event, something related to the environment which will draw immediate attention to your mind. That's the purpose normally of bringing about this kind of a symbolism. I can give you an example, although it's nothing to do with a term of this nature. I'm conducting an exercise on behalf of the NDMA in Delhi at the moment, an exercise on disaster management. We have called it Exercise Suraksha. I'm forgetting the full name of it. Exercise Suraksha is generally called. Now, what has Suraksha got to do with disaster? It's security, but disaster management is also security. That's what we are concerned about. So it conveys a meaning to the public also. See, we are looking at Exercise Suraksha and this is related to disaster management, and it's related to disaster management as a part of national security. Right? So this is how normally we always select our names. And I don't think there is any officer particularly, it's normally a consensus selection of a terminology. No one bats an eyelid on this, and no one ever even really questions this in any manner, because these thoughts never come to our mind at all.
In fact, if we were to draw parallels, perhaps Pakistan would be a better example, where, you know, General Hasnain, whether it is Operation Zarb-e-Azb or Operation Rahe-Nizzat, amongst others, there seems to be a clear religious connotation, isn't there?
See, as far as India is concerned, everyone knows we are our constitution is primarily one which promotes democracy, right? Transparency, secularism. So, and we believe primarily in all faiths being Indian, all faiths being the same. In Pakistan, of course, is an Islamic republic. So they are focused on ensuring that anything that they do is always related to something to do with faith. Particularly in this case, mostly it is to sort of give it a militant kind of a name sometimes. Zarb-e-Azb the thing is primarily a battle against evil or something like that. It is, I think, in as far as Farsi or Arabic is concerned. I'm not very certain about it myself. But their names are always like this. They had an exercise called Zarb-e-Momin, right? That is a campaign of the faithful, right? No, we don't do that kind of a thing. You have never heard of something like having an exercise or an operation or something named on believers of something. No. Many times what happens in our case is that we like to give names related to our regimental symbols, to our regimental war cries. If I have a operation called Badri Vishal, Operation Badri Vishal, it will be related to my regiment, which believes in Badri Vishal Lal Ki Jai. That is the war cry of my regiment. And what is Badri Vishal? Is nothing but the personification of Lord Vishnu. So a lot of people will say, see, you're communalizing this. No, there's nothing of that kind. Because my troops are all from Uttarakhand, they're all Gadwali troops. Right? We believe our deity, presiding deity is Lord Badri Vishal. So we name our, many times we name our exercises or small operations as Badri Vishal. That doesn't mean that this is something, is a communal term or something like that.
Thank you, General Hasnain, Lieutenant General Hasnain, for joining us with very deep insights on that matter. We really hope that opposition gets some clarity as well.